There are places in this world where the walls do not forget, where the air itself seems heavier, carrying echoes of the past that refuse to die. Places where every doorway feels like an invitation you should never accept, and every shadow seems to wait for you to turn your back. They exist far from comfort, hidden in ruined towns, behind locked gates, or standing alone in silence. But silence is never truly silent in these places. The faint scrape of movement in an empty corridor. A whisper that doesn't belong to you. The steady feeling that something is watching, though no eyes are there to meet yours. These are not stories meant to thrill you before sleep. They are not creations of the imagination. They are real. And those who entered, whether out of courage or foolishness, left behind fragments of themselves, sometimes their sanity, sometimes their lives. For centuries, travelers, locals, and investigators have warned of them. Yet curiosity always wins, pulling people back to the same cursed walls, the same endless forests, the same staircases that lead into darkness. Some return shaken, some return broken, and some are never seen again. Tonight, you will step inside 13 of the most haunted places known to exist. 13 places where the line between the living and the dead is thinnest. 13 places you should never, ever walk into, unless you are prepared to risk carrying their shadows home with you. Across the world, there are locations so cursed, so steeped in suffering, that stepping across their thresholds feels like signing away your soul. These are places where tragedy carved itself into the walls, where every stone holds the memory of despair, and where every shadow carries the weight of unfinished stories. You may believe these are simply tales, exaggerated for thrill. But history leaves traces. Diaries, police reports, eyewitness accounts, photographs, and recordings, evidence that whispers of the unexplainable. These places exist, standing in silence, waiting. Some are grand structures, castles and prisons built on centuries of cruelty. Others are hidden in nature, forests where the trees themselves seem to lean closer, as if listening. A few are ordinary buildings, unremarkable to the eye, until you step inside and feel the air press against your chest. People visit them with cameras, with bravado, with disbelief. Yet even the strongest skeptics confess to leaving changed. Strange sounds, flickering lights, footsteps that follow but never appear, and always, that heavy, unshakable sense that someone, or something, is standing just beyond sight. This is not entertainment for the faint of heart. What you are about to see has left countless people afraid to sleep, afraid to turn off the lights, afraid to be alone. If you scare easily, if shadows already haunt your nights, then turn away now. Because once these places take root in your mind, they are not easily forgotten. 13 haunted places, each more terrifying than the last. And we begin, where betrayal, blood, and silence still linger. The Tower of London, England. For nearly 1,000 years, the Tower of London has stood as both fortress and prison. Kings were crowned within its walls, treasures guarded, and enemies kept under lock and key. It is history carved into stone, admired by millions of visitors each year. But behind its grandeur lies a legacy of suffering. Hundreds were executed here, including some of England's most tragic figures. Among them, Anne Boleyn, the queen who defied her king, only to face the blade of the executioner. Guards and tourists alike report seeing her still. She wanders the tower's darkened corridors, carrying her severed head in her hands. Witnesses say she drifts silently, her dress sweeping across the stones, her face pale yet calm, as if she is still waiting for justice that never came. Would you dare walk the bloody tower at night, knowing her spirit may be watching? Poveglia Island, Italy. A short boat ride from Venice lies Poveglia Island. From the shore, it looks like a quiet ruin, forgotten and reclaimed by nature. But its soil hides a gruesome history. During the plague, thousands of the infected were sent here to die, their bodies burned in massive pits. Centuries later, a psychiatric hospital was built on the island, where rumors of cruel experiments filled the halls. Fishermen say they still hear screams drifting across the water at night. Some claim to have seen figures moving behind broken windows, though no one has lived there for decades. And yet, at times, a bell tolls from the tower, even though the bell itself was removed long ago. Do you believe the island itself is cursed, its very soil stained by the dead? Aokigahara Forest, Japan. At the foot of Mount Fuji lies a forest unlike any other, Aokigahara. Its beauty is undeniable, an endless sea of trees stretching in every direction. But its silence is unnerving. For centuries, the forest has been a place where many come to end their lives. So many, in fact, that it is known worldwide as the suicide forest. Those who venture off the marked paths tell of whispers guiding them deeper. Compasses spin wildly, GPS fails, and a sudden stillness fills the air. Some hikers report footsteps just behind them, only to turn and find the path empty. If you found yourself lost among those endless trees, and heard your name whispered in the dark, would you follow it? Eastern State Penitentiary, USA. In Philadelphia stands Eastern State Penitentiary, once the most advanced prison in the world. Built in 1829, it was designed to inspire repentance through silence and isolation. Prisoners lived alone, eating alone, speaking to no one. Even when they left their cells, hoods covered their faces. Madness was not an accident, it was inevitable. Today, those who walk its crumbling halls hear screams echoing from nowhere. Shadows dart across the walls. Some visitors claim a hand has brushed their shoulder, only to turn and find nothing there but the dark. Do you think pain that deep can echo through stone walls, long after the prisoners are gone? The Banff Springs Hotel, Canada. High in the Canadian Rockies, the Banff Springs Hotel stands as a symbol of elegance. A luxury retreat for travelers seeking beauty and comfort. But within its walls, some guests have never checked out. One story tells of a young bride who tripped on her gown and fell to her death on the grand staircase the night of her wedding. She is still seen today, gliding down hallways in her flowing dress, or weeping softly in the empty ballroom. Elevators open to vacant floors. Doors unlock on their own. And guests swear they've heard the faint sobbing of a bride forever waiting. Would you spend a night here, knowing you might meet the bride who never left her wedding? Château de Brissac, France. In the Loire Valley of France stands Château de Brissac, one of the most striking castles in Europe. But behind its beauty lies betrayal. Centuries ago, a duchess was murdered here after being caught in an affair. Her ghost, known as the Green Lady, still roams the halls. Witnesses describe her face as grotesque, split open, her eyes wide with terror. Her moans echo through the night, chilling the hearts of all who hear. Do you believe love and betrayal can leave behind a ghost that never rests? Bangor Fort, India. In the state of Rajasthan stands Bangor Fort, a magnificent ruin surrounded by mountains. Tension. Yet no one dares to enter after sunset. Legend tells of a sorcerer who cursed the land after being rejected by the princess he desired. Travelers speak of glowing lights within the ruins at night. Strange music drifts through the air. Some who ignored the warnings were never seen again. Even the government has posted signs forbidding entry after dark. Would you break the warning signs and step inside, just to see what waits? The Myrtles Plantation, USA. In Louisiana stands the Myrtles Plantation, a grand southern estate with a troubled past. It was built on a native burial ground, and its history is marked by slavery, tragedy, and violence. The ghost most often seen is Chloe, an enslaved woman accused of poisoning the family. She wanders the house in a green turban, appearing in photographs, staring silently from the shadows. Visitors often feel watched, especially near the old slave quarters. Do you believe Chloe lingers to seek revenge, or justice? Leap Castle, Ireland. Leap Castle in Ireland has been called the bloodiest castle in the world. Its history is written in betrayal and murder. Family feuds ended in massacres here. Priests were slain on the altar. Prisoners were thrown into pits filled with spikes. Among its many phantoms lurks something far darker, the elemental. Witnesses describe it as a shadow with burning eyes and the stench of rotting flesh. Those who see it say they are haunted for years. What do you think the elemental is? A ghost, a demon, or something older? Edinburgh Vaults, Scotland. Beneath the streets of Edinburgh lies a hidden world, the underground vaults. Built in the 18th century, they were once used for shops and storage. But as the years passed, the poor and desperate moved in. Criminals, thieves, and outcasts lived in a damp darkness, unseen by the world above. Tourists today hear ragged breathing in the dark. Some feel a hand brush against their skin. Entire groups claim to hear the same whisper at once, though no one can say what it was. Would you walk these vaults in silence, knowing something might be walking beside you? The Ancient Ram Inn, England. In the quiet village of Watton-under-Edge stands the Ancient Ram Inn, a structure dating back to 1145. Rumors say it was built on a pagan burial site. Over the centuries, it has been linked to rituals, sacrifices, and unrest. Paranormal investigators report violent activity, objects thrown across rooms, ghostly figures, and whispers in the dark. Some guests wake with claw marks on their bodies. Is this just history seeping through the walls, or something much darker? Helltown, USA. In Ohio lies an abandoned town locals call Helltown. On maps, it is simply Boston Township. But the stories that surround it are far from ordinary. Whispers speak of government experiments, chemical spills, and even cult rituals hidden deep within the woods. Travelers report strange creatures lurking along the roadside, headlights of phantom cars that vanish without a trace, and distant screams carried through the trees. Would you explore this ghost town at night, if you knew something might be waiting in the dark? St. Augustine Lighthouse, USA. On the coast of Florida, the St. Augustine Lighthouse guides ships through dangerous waters. To visitors, it is a piece of maritime history. But it is also a place of tragedy. The daughters of a lighthouse keeper drowned here, their laughter silenced by the waves. Climbers on the staircase say they hear giggles echoing above them. Shadows of small figures dart from step to step. Some feel the tug of a child's hand on their clothing, as if asking to play. Do you believe innocence itself can haunt a place, bound forever by the sea? These places are not just stones and timber, not just forests and water. They are vessels, holding echoes of the dead, soaked in pain, regret, and unfinished stories. Every wall remembers. Every hallway breathes. Every shadow belongs to something that does not want to be forgotten. And yet, curiosity always wins. We are drawn to what frightens us, believing we will be different, that the stories are just stories. But those who walked before believed the same. Some returned trembling, some returned broken, and some never returned at all. So I ask you, would you risk your sanity for curiosity? Would you step across the threshold of these places, knowing that once they mark you, you may never walk away the same? These 13 places remind us of one truth: death is never truly silent. The living may leave, but the echoes remain. And perhaps, they wait for someone, like you, to listen. Did you hear that? If you heard it too, tell me in the comments. What do you think it was? Would you dare visit any of these places yourself? Or is there one I missed, one even darker? Tell me below, if you're brave enough. And if you want more journeys into the shadows, subscribe now. But remember this, once you step into this channel, there is no turning back.